Hello, today it's Frankie here and I'm back with another movie review. And again, this movie is terrible. It's this website, man, has given me some terrible movies to watch. Literally, it's kind of like my football team, inconsistent. Like, it really is. At least the previous site I was on, which it's not really working properly. At least I had better movies on there, and you can actually have better searches. This one here is just completely just terrible. It's useless. And I've watched a comedy movie after a long time. I think the last comedy movie I seen was Tag, if I remember correctly, and I've seen, action and horror, so why not switch up and watch a comedy? I was in the mood for a comedy, and I picked a few comedies out. And this one was an hour and 19, so I thought, why not give it a watch? It's short, but it could be sweet. It's called Funeral Day, and it's about this. It's a darkly, comedy, darkly funny sort of whatever it is. It's about this dude has a lump in his testicles, and he thinks it might be cancer, stuff like that. And his friend passed away, so it was his funeral, or his friend's funeral. And I think this guy Chris, I think his name is, came in. He was urgent to go to a funeral. Why didn't you go to a funeral? And Scott was so concerned about the lump in his testicle that he didn't want to go because he's scared and he's lost a lot of people due to it. So yeah, it's not really much in this movie to talk about. If I miss anything, I do apologise. But this movie is quite short. I'm going to explain it quickly. So he gets ready. He goes to meet a woman that he didn't treat very well. I think her name's Wendy. I had to remember the characters and I had to remember the cast. I had to go to Wendy, and he kind of pushed to be back together with her, even though she said no. And he was a bit erratic and dramatic and eccentric and stuff like that. So yeah, I don't know why he pushed on her. And then she didn't know that his friend passed, and she was like, I'm so sorry to hear that, blah blah. And he proceeded to kiss her, which he shouldn't have, and he wanted to try and marry her, so I don't know why. So she basically threw the ring back at him, and he walked out. He then got visited by this guy called TJ. I think he's a businessman, and he was urging him, like, talking to him and giving him advice on like business and jobs and stuff like that. And he showed him around this house, around the house or something, I don't know what it was. And he tried to force him to actually sign something which makes him get the house or something like that. And TJ then tricks him into thinking, oh, he's going to get somewhere. He doesn't, and he gets the security guard, I think his name Dave, to come out. And Dave throws him outside, and he says, oh, sorry man, I didn't mean to, I didn't want to do it that way, but and he starts talking in poetry to him. And this, and Scott starts to become inspired. But oh my god, this is incredible. I mean, I'm going to learn to write like you. Bear in mind, it's very grim. I know what this movie is about, and I know that sound is a bit sad because there's, that word cancer's involved and stuff like that. But if it's a comedy, you need to make it humorous. It was like this the entire way through, and I used to thought, okay, is the movie going to end with him actually change up his life properly, or is this all a setup for him to actually like to help him out or stuff like that? Didn't turn out that way, but I'll get onto that. And then eventually he goes to this. I think he goes to see. I think he sees a waitress at a diner first. And then he goes to see a waitress at a diner, and he likes her. I've forgotten the waitress's name, but I'm still going to waitress because it's one waitress he talks to anyway. And he went to see this he went to see this woman. I think she's a wife of somebody. I think, and I've forgotten what the guy's name is. I really need to actually remember all these characters' names. I should start what I should do from now on is getting my phone out and looking through the cast and seeing what I remember the names. Makes it easier. I should have with football scores too. But anyway, let's go into the movie. And he says he wants to use the guy's studio, and he lies to this woman saying, "Oh, he said I could use it." He goes in, and as soon as he was about to play something, she eventually found that he was lying, and she wants him to leave and stuff like that. And then she offered to take him to the funeral, which he didn't want to go to. So he persuaded her, "I've got so much more to do in my life," because he made a pledge to this to Chris. So, excuse me, God, that's a bit of a burp there. But he eventually made a pledge to Chris saying, "Oh, don't know why, just made something up saying, okay, I've got these many hours to do this, and I can change up my entire life in this one day." So yeah, so he said no, so he wanted to continue, and he went to the hospital, Someone gave him advice to actually go for it though, to go to the hospital face to face. I think he went to see Chuck. Yeah, Chuck, that's it. And he went to see a friend called Chuck. This is the part where I thought, this is after 30 minutes by the way, this is where Chuck could have been a funnier character in terms of his style and his acting and his type of character of how he was. But he just turned out to be someone that was a bit silly. He could have been funnier. I was really laughing at his jokes too. And then he was like telling this guy, can you feel my balls for it? And he was like saying, yeah. And it was meant to be feeling his balls. Bit weird. Don't know why you would ask someone to do that for him, especially if it's a friend that's not a doctor. But yeah, he was like, the hearing child, you thought there was a lump there, but there wasn't. Well, there was, but he wasn't sure of it. And he says, I'm going to Thailand to go to Bangkok. And he was like, oh, no, I can't afford to go to Bangkok, but so he left. And he went to the doctors and he came across a nurse called Phil. Didn't get the guy's name, but I saw it in the cast list. So the guy's name is Phil, and he was like, I have cancer. I really need to see someone that has cancer. Can you please tell me who's dying so I can look them in the eye? But he came across as someone that I know he was struggling with grief, but he went the wrong way about it. And he's like he didn't get arrested for anything, because with how crazy he was, I'm surprised he didn't pull some sort of stunt. So he ran through the halls and he went to this patient and said, look me in the eyes and tell me how you feel about. And he had on the phone the security guard to throw him out. I don't know what the security guard's name is at the hospital. And he's, someone was talking to him telepathically, and there's some woman in the park talking telepathically, and he went through a park. And other people was, he's getting some, it sounds like telepathic talking. Don't know why that came into it, but I understand what the meaning of that was, because he's grieving and stuff like that. And there was some interesting line that, this kid said telepathically to him, made a very good point in the movie, which I might just be generous with a tiny bit of a rating on this one. But this kid said, you're not changing your life, you're changing the circumstances instead of your life. That's a genius line, because when people change their life, they're just changing the small parts of the circumstances. They're not changing about how they're going to change their life fully. And that's actually, I never thought about it that way. I might start thinking about it and use that line every day now, actually. That's actually quite a good point. Good on the movie for adding that in, well done. And everybody just tends to stay positive. He meets this couple at a park, and weird scene, this couple finds people, patients, and see if there's any issues, and checking their that word beginning with P, the prostate, yeah, a bit weird. And there's this, there's a scene where he's in bed with the couple and so on. This guy has a glove and he's performing that sort of exam on him. It was very weird, and the woman was feeling his balls, and yeah, she was saying that she found something like a lump, and they were discussing it with him, and apparently it was a day off or something like that. And this is a job that they do, which is a bit weird. I thought it was just like some horny crazed couple, but they're not. There's actually a job that they do, a bit strange why they would do something like that. And they had to go to the doctor because it wasn't ethical what they were doing. And he goes back to his waitress and says, oh, I think I found a lump, blah blah, and it could be cancer. And she suggests them go to doctors, but then there's a scene where they die in the bedroom. So I'm not going to talk about that on here, but if you've seen the movie you will know, but if you haven't, then I recommend not watching it. But if you want to, go ahead and you can see my video afterwards. Yeah, so she advised him to go to doctors. It should have had, it was, technically there should have been a scene where he went to doctor, but there wasn't. And then he went to obviously this, went to cemetery to put the flowers down. Then there was a voice message of him talking, the voice message of him saying something to Chris, saying, call me back, I'm going to a doctor, I wonder if you can come with me. And yeah, it just ended like that, to be honest. I thought that Chris Duke was a bit of an a-hole, how he handled it. Yeah, Scott is pretty weird, and he should have done better, to be honest, as a person, in terms of trying to change. He wasn't trying to change. He was making it more difficult for himself, but actually hassling people and actually being a bit eccentric, and he could have calmed down and stayed a bit positive. I said it was scary for him, but he could have stayed a bit more positive, and he could have something to take his mind off things, I guess. He could have went to a funeral and came back, actually figured out how to do it. So he went about it the wrong way, and now he's grieving, but he should have handled things differently, to be honest. Chris should have sort of forced him to the funeral. Chris should have said, okay, let's go to doctors together, I can help you. But Scott was too stubborn. He thought, okay, I have cancer, and it's going to be like that. Nah, he could have been okay. To be honest, that's how I got from the movie. It should have ended with him going to doctors and with him changing, his life, and find out that he probably isn't, he probably, as it is, he's going to die. It's probably just like a fatty thing. That's glad that that's possible. But yeah, he could have found out. He could have went doctors, and it could have been a bit more of a happy ending, I guess. And in that sort of a movie, though, those sort of movies should have been longer. It's an hour and 19 minutes, which movies like that would and should be longer. But I'm glad this movie was that long, because it felt pointless making it. It really did. It didn't really teach me. It wouldn't teach anybody anything. I know it's meant to be grim and it's sad and you got to feel sorry for the dude. I don't know. I feel sorry for him in terms because he needed some company. He needed a friend. He needed someone to actually support him, even though he didn't show it. But I think he was scared. That's understandable for anyone in that position. If I was in his position, I'd be scared too, and I wouldn't want to go anywhere. You know what I'm saying? Because anywhere death happens, I would not want to go to it. So I understand where he's coming from. And sometimes comedies like that can teach you stuff, but it didn't make me have any sort of emotion to it, as harsh as it may sound. It just felt like a dull comedy. I don't know. The rating for this, what am I going to give? I'm going to give it a 3 out of 10. I think with that good line that the kid said to him, it actually meant something a bit there. So I'm glad they added that in the movie, and that's why I rated it a 3. It could have been a 2. But the way he acted, though, he acted a bit like he was scared, but they could have made him a bit more... I don't know how else he could have acted, but acting didn't need to be perfect for this one. It was just that some of the characters were silly, it felt too short, more humour was needed. A lot of things need to change in movies like this. And I've seen movies like this where someone's going through something and yeah, it can get a bit sad at the end, but it's a happy ending. It's usually meant to be emotional, but it's still a lot of humour. So change should have added so much more into it, man, literally. Anyways, 3 out of 10 it is. 3 out of 10, sorry. If you enjoyed the video, please give a like, comment, share everyone know, subscribe and hit the bell notification below. I'll see you in my next video.